is those of the black folks that did make the transition get some success. I will say we not building no damn infrastructure. You know, we get a few material items, we get a car and a nice house in the suburbs, and then we're like, well, what's next? You know, we don't want to do no more hard work after that. We don't want to take no more chances. We don't want to lose the material shit we got. And so when the underclass don't have nowhere to go, we're part of the problem for not creating it. And so as much as we pick, I take shit. I pick on Pookie and Ray Ray, but I pick on the suburban niggas that got resources. They don't do shit. That damn promotion on that job becomes everything. That boss become their fucking god. Okay, I do a year letter union movement. I can't get niggas to sign a fucking petition card. I can't get niggas. Okay, I won the union movement, got the contract. I can't get niggas to write a fucking complaint to the boss to protect the contract that they pay dues for. But I'm gonna stop my rant there.
Yeah,
well, I would say, you know, my parents. I can only. Oh, sorry,
who's next in the queue though? Someone. It was LAR. He was before you, Grizzly.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'll come after.
And then Xanatos to actually respond.
I'm just gonna try to be as quick as possible.
Okay.
Xanatos, it's all love, but I'm gonna just have to say this: your dad came from the crack era in DC to all the way to PG. That is a monumental step, and if the torch you gotta carry now, you might not be able to catch the kids you grew up that are rich, but now it's your responsibility to take it another step. So part of your energy is like you're entitled on a pedestal, because you have no idea how hard it is to come from the crack era in DC to PG. You're completely disconnected from that, and I'm glad your dad actually was able to take it that far. So you really don't know that, but it seems like you don't have the same drive and ambition that he did, because he had to get it out of that poverty. Now you might have to do something a little different. You don't have to make the same strides he did, but you have to make a stride. And all of this, your anger and anxiety, you might not be a billionaire starting from PG to wherever you want to go, but I can guarantee you can't survive coming from the places that some of us came from. But we don't want you to, though. But we don't want you to act like where you at is like the worst place on the planet, because PG is probably one of the best places in the United States if you actually go around the United States.
It is.
You know, Outer Beltway PG. It's
no, seriously, dog. Because I lived in the DMV too. You know, Baltimore and DC and Chicago and New Orleans. I can tell you by your energy, you will not survive in Oakland, Philly, Chi-Town. You might not even survive in Mississippi, Alabama. None of that. You won't be
at Carol City.
And we're glad that you at where you at.
Grape
Street, I'm even as Ray Rays and Pookies go, I'm pretty even keel. You walk around some nice brothers in the hood, I'm nice compared to them brothers.
Oh yeah, them motherfuckers
walk around talking crazy like that, saying the statements you be saying, nigga trinkets and shit.
Oh yeah.
That shit. Yeah. My business partners are old fucking goons. Came out of the Fed, everything, and that's my business partner. Also, my other partners. I grew up in Broward, Fort Lauderdale, because my parents moved us out of them areas, because we grew up in when they first landed here, they landed in Miami from Jamaica. And then they had a house, the Pink House, which still is by the turnpike. That was Carol City, now renamed Miami Gardens. Carol City, as you know, Rick Ross, all that bullshit.
Oh yeah.
The nickname for that fucking city is Murder Gardens right now. And I want you to understand that, because this shit is not sweet. And I'm telling you, and I didn't grow up in those areas, but I knew at least where I fucking came from. Because I go to those areas now, and I'm like, shit, I could have came out of this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, your dad, from what it sounds like, moved you out of one of these. I could have came out of this area. And then you coming on here and I heard you earlier, you was being super disrespectful to BGS. Really, you need to calm that down because it's going to affect you, and it has affected you in your 30s now, being a grown-ass man that's got to probably raise kids pretty soon, if not already, and you really out here acting like you didn't get at least, not even a silver spoon, but you ain't getting no wooden spoon. Like, I don't understand it. I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand.
Let him respond.
Let me address all of you.
Okay.
As far as my dad, he is the exception to the rule. Where
no, he is the result.
No. Let him respond.
He is the exception to the rule compared to my other family members, my relatives, the female cousins who fucking tortured me like this for the same fucking reason of me not having swag, the community at large, as I said, me getting into fights constantly, administrators, teachers, and principals getting on my ass telling me, why do you talk so white? Why do you act so fucking white? And basically sicking students on me to fight me after school.
Okay.
That's the surface of the fucking issue.
So you would, that's 12 years ago.
That's 12 years ago. But we can complain about slavery and Jim Crow, even though I never experienced it. But I can't complain about that. Right?
Hold on a second. Why do we complain about slavery and Jim Crow? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, because from what all of you say, that's what created the people who were on that bullshit, right? So you give them that excuse, huh?
So now the Southerners, we just had a protest about them taking down Civil War statues. Why would white people care?
Why would white people care?
Yeah, why would they care?
Because American whites are pieces of shit on average.
No. In other words, the Civil War still affects them, does it not? A lot of their beliefs that they
psychologically, yes.
A lot of like Jim Crow didn't.
That's because they allow it.
Jim Crow didn't end until 1965. That's a very short time. That's like 2 generations.
But what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, all of the stuff that you're describing that was done to you, you're saying that the teachers felt like you were talking too white or behaving too white.
And my own relatives,
students, which is everybody goes through that to some degree. And what you're saying is all of this happened,
myself included.
All of this happened. Like I got picked on for liking anime and comic books and all of that good shit, and I got plenty of motherfucking swag. So that ain't got nothing to do with it. But
it probably canceled each other out. You were good. That's why you got love for the community.
No, it didn't cancel each other out.
How did bullying cancel each other out?
Xanatos, where'd you go to school at, man? Because one thing I
don't understand is
college. Where'd you go to college at, man? Because well, I guess my question is,
it wasn't Duke. It wasn't Duke, dude. It wasn't as luxurious as Duke. It was a Power 5 school, but it was
I worked my ass off to get to Duke. I'm a bootstrapper, just like you guys always talk about. So you should be thanking me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if you went to college,
but whenever I talk about bootstrapping, I'm a king.
No.
But when you go to college, all the black kids are smart, just like you. Did you get along with them? It doesn't sound like you did.
You went to Howard, right, Xanatos? So did I. You went to Howard, right?
No.
It can't all just be Pookie and Ray Ray. And first of all, hey man, I'm tired of people talking about Pookie and Ray Ray. I grew up with good guys who got sent to the street out of desperation. So I like, we want to talk about dudes that are doing criminal activities. Let's talk about that like it is. That deserves to be talked down to. But man, just constantly going in on dudes is not cool.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing though. all of the stuff that he's described, all of the stuff that you're
It's
describing,
normal black behavior.
you would say like that's what niggas
human
do.
behavior.
That's what
Everybody
black
goes
people do. And you know what? To some degree, every single group, white people do it to each other. All of the groups do this shit to each other.
That's what I call
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Oh, they do.
Hold on,
Yeah, they
hold on,
do.
hold on.
White
yeah.
trash men do
Hold
it
back
to
one
each
second.
other.
Hold on back.
White
Hold up,
trash
fam.
do
So
it
you
to
mean
each
to
other.
tell me? So you mean to tell me?
So the
you
bullying,
genuinely
the
think
bullying campaign that white people talk about, where does that come from?
you genuinely think white kids don't bully each other?
The fuck, man.
No.
This is what I don't
They
understand.
don't get on each other's ass.
as a black
You
One
sound
time.
You sound absolutely disconnected from your own local environment and the people around you.
Right.
And I really think that you need to be a little bit more receptive and be a sponge for your environment, because of the simple fact that you're literally saying some of these things and it's just things that you've probably watched on TV. Like, this doesn't even sound like
Caricaturing his
you
own
experienced it.
But let me ask
Right.
him this. Let me
Yeah,
ask him
they
this. You're sitting here saying that all of those things, okay, all of those things that happened to you, would you say those things have affected you? Would you
Shouldn't
say
have
those
happened.
things had a negative impact on you?
So, yeah.
Okay. So if those experiences have had a negative impact on you, and you grew up in a house with your dad and your mom, and you had family,
Let me put the picture straight. Yeah, my dad helped me, but he died when I was fucking 7.
Okay.
Which left me to the fucking wolves.
So did
Okay.
you?
11 years.
So did you grow up in
Passed away.
He left you to the wolves.
And I
passed
wasn't.
away,
He
man.
didn't leave you to the wolves. He died.
Well,
Leaving you to
he
the
didn't.
wolves?
Well, you know what I meant.
So
No, we don't know what you mean.
So who raised you after 7?
My mom.
Your mom and
Yeah, that was just basically what you just said about. Well, there's feeding you and nurturing you, and then there's actually taking care of you and watching your back. She did the former.
So basically, if she's working,
She basically did the bare minimum of her fuck. No, you know, I'm not gonna go there.
Xanatos, here's the thing, bro. I get your point of what you're saying, but the disconnect is this. Even when you're talking about comparing that to family and your father dying when you were young, nobody in America is going to consider there being wolves in PG, for one. And two, the people that were teasing you or bullying you, you ever considered the fact that they could have been jealous because you weren't the kid who had to pluck roaches out the cereal box?
They didn't know that shit.
It doesn't matter where you grew up.
So basically, this is what it is. This is what it is, right? Because I had to go through the same shit, all right? Because I went to school with kids that were in Fox Hills and Windsor Hills, and all those rich kids whose dads were like CEOs or corporate giants in their industry. And I was the poor kid coming from the east side of town, right? And basically, since his dad died, so he wasn't able to maintain his lifestyle like those other kids, right, Xanatos? Right? Right? So basically, you are the poor kid that's barely maintaining because your mom doesn't have the help, and you have to go to school with all these other kids who have all these other resources that you don't have, and they're picking on you because you are the poor kid, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Crickets.
Right?
Crickets.
Right?
Use
PS3
syndrome.
In other words, you got kids that, you know, like when I came up, that had cars, and I barely had a bus pass to go 10 miles, and some days I had to walk 10 miles home because.
But BGS,
yes, sir.
In the school that you went to, because see, here's the thing: when I was in Detroit, I got to go to 2 different schools. One school I went to was a public school. The other school I went to was a private school. It was like a Catholic school. And there was, there was white kids in the school or whatever. And one thing that I do know for a fact, and you've probably witnessed this, white kids, they bully each other, but they bully each other for like more like class
Class
shit.
things, yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, my dad is this and he's important and he does this, and my family comes from this background, and they'll pick on other kids that don't come from that background. Like, that's the type of bullying that white kids do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like the kid, like I'll give you an example. One kid, the one kid I went to school with she's a white girl. She was in Family Affair. She's an actress. She was Jody in Family Affair. Buffy in Family Affair. Okay. Another kid I went to school was Robinson. He was Ray Charles's son. You know, I went to school with Ike and Tina Turner's son. You know, in other words, these are the kind of kids, like Ike and Tina Turner's son Craig. He actually drove a Porsche to school every day. I'm riding the bus. I can barely get bus fare to go to school every day. This nigga's riding around in a Porsche. In fact, one guy I played basketball with, his father bought him 2 Porsches and a Volkswagen Rabbit because he tore them all up. Okay.
And watch this. And Ike's son driving around in that Porsche, he probably in his mind felt like he probably didn't even like the Porsche. He might have wanted something else.
He did. As a matter of fact, he did.
Hot damn! How would I know?
In other words, and I'm the poor kid, and they're picking on me. Why? Not because I'm not smart, not because I'm not athletic, not because I don't have swag, because I'm poor. I live I live in on the other side of town in a 2-bedroom house, right? And these niggas live in split-level homes with pools and shit overlooking the city. I'm not invited to the fucking parties, okay? Like they are. I'm not invited to the football games. I got a couple of cute girls that like me, but I can't date them because there's other kids with cars that I don't have, okay? So in other words, yes, they pick on me. I could have got into fights because, yeah. But the thing is, it is what it is, okay? I come from people think I came from I was well-educated, came from a good family. My mother never finished high school. She's too embarrassed to say so. The same thing with my dad. I taught my dad how to spell, but when I was of the age 9, okay? Those are my parents. They're poor. They're two poor people that didn't finish school, that had 5 kids, got kicked out of Dallas and came to LA, and we were fucking poor, right?
But peep this, BGS.
Yes.
Peep this. My you know, I was raised by my grandmother. Like, I could have lived with my father if I wanted, and I did live with him periodically. I could have lived with my mother if I wanted to. And here's the funny thing: my father held a grudge against my grandfather because when my uncle graduated, my grandfather put him through school to be like an electronics technician, right?
Okay.
And he didn't do that for my dad. You know, my dad, when he graduated, he got a basketball. And to this day, I've heard him say that shit when I was grown. And you know, and my grandmother, and I told my grandmother about it one time. I said, yeah, he has a grudge against you and grandpa because of the fact of this. And she said, you know what? The reason why my grandfather did that for my uncle was because when my uncle was born, he was born with a heart murmur. They wasn't even expecting him to live. So what he was doing, he was trying to put him through school to do something so that he wouldn't have to do hard labor.
Right. So he wasn't stressed.
You know, but my father didn't view it that way. He viewed it a different way. And me, I looked at it like, nigga, are you serious? Like, you're grown now. You know what I'm saying? You got out of high school, you went into the freaking military, you got out of the military, you've had a job. Like, my father would be considered, when he was working, he was upper middle class. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but he still had his complaints. He still was bitching and moaning, and he didn't go through half of the shit that I went through, that really I shouldn't have had to go through. And see, that's another thing. My mother was a freaking court clerk, and my father was a fucking mechanic. Both of them made very good money. So technically, I should have been a upper middle class kid, but I wasn't. But I don't walk around bitching and complaining about that.
That's because you appreciate what it taught you. And see, the problem with guys like him, I went to private school till 8th grade, till my parents couldn't afford it for high school. And like I tried to tell Xander, see, that's the problem with a lot of niggas at 30. Too much information, not enough knowledge. I said, So here's the caveat of going to private school. You had to deal with the kids who were expelled from public school. So you had to deal with great education, but the worst of the worst students. Because they were expelled. They couldn't go to public school anymore. That was their last stop. So you comic book guy, and trust me, I grew up skinny. People think that, oh, you lifted weights and you got bigger. No, it was called puberty. And when I was smaller, people would try to pick on. So and you don't hear me whining and complaining about that, because guess what? Like everybody says, my father famously said it, you're going to get tired of taking some ass whippings, aren't you, boy?
Yeah.
No.
I did.
and then on top of that, just like in the military, I got in more fights in the military in 3 months of basic training than 4 years of high school.
Yeah,
so
BGS, my bad.
I'm sorry. I'm going to finish up real quick. But see, the problem with him is that millennial mindset can be a very dangerous thing. Why me? Why me? It's like I told him earlier, do not pray for lighter loads. Pray for a stronger back to deal with them. Pray for that strength to deal with a difficult life. You're a man. I think Valdez said it best when he talked about the Godfather, Vito Corleone. He says men and women can be. He says children and women can be careless, but men can't. You're not afforded the same luxuries, and see, that's the problem with that single mom mindset. You can't get the luxury of what a woman would say, woe is me, and people would take care of you. Fuck your worries. Fuck your feelings. Drive on with it.
Yeah, because it sounds like, when he was, I think he's gone now, but he blames his father
for dying.
Who died.
To die.
He blames his dad for dying.
And it blames his mom for not picking up the slack like he thinks she should.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And then the thing is, like, his mom is only supposed to take him so far in his development as a child.
They didn't pick on him because he talked white. They picked on him because he was poor. As soon as I figured that out, as soon as he said his dad died, but you didn't move. She didn't move you back to D.C. or to Baltimore, did she? She tried to keep you there.
That's why he probably had a scrape to do that.
That's why he got quiet. Yeah. That's why he got quiet and dipped, because BGS hit the nail on the head. What it was is they probably had a certain lifestyle while his pops was alive, and when his pops died, that lifestyle diminished, and she probably held it together as best she could, and the kids in his school probably noticed this shit.
Yeah, they did notice it.
And she was probably like, I guess, negligent or treating him, I guess, paying him less attention because
she's working.
Guess what happens when you have to deal with that? Yeah, you're fucking tired. Because I know when my mom dealt with that shit, my mom would promise me things and come home and fall asleep straight.
Yeah.
And I used to get fucking mad as hell. And even till this day, I still hold some resentment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even I talked to her the other day. I said, yo, Mom, if I can, do something with this cryptocurrency and then this alarm, blah, 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 I'm going to move you into a house with me.
Does he still live in PG,
going through it.
No, he's in Utah now. He moved.
I got a cousin that went through the same exact shit.
Wait. Time out. He moved from PG to Utah?
Yeah.
That's about as white as you can go.
I mean, I'm not.
It's not even about the white part. It's just the fact that
What I'm saying is,
antithesis of struggle.
I know.
That's
LAR. Some people love this. You got to learn one thing in life that you probably already know. Some people love to be close to the oppressor.
Yeah, I ain't even tripping about being close to the oppressor part. I'm like, you move from PG to Utah acting like life is hard. Like, I don't.
Right.
I'm thinking, oh shit.
No, he's upset. He's the kid that didn't have the swag. He didn't have the money to have the swag. And his mom tried to get him to keep in his books so that he could get up out of there or do what he wanted to do. They couldn't afford to send him to school because his dad died.
No, I do get that part, BJ's, but I had I'm thinking if he's still in PG, I don't know why he's still complaining, but he moved from PG to Utah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like he should. Oh God, he could have. Wow.
I'm listening to how he talk. He was picked on also because of how he speaks and the content of what he says and the superior attitude that he got. His conflict is all inside.
And guess who accepted him?
Okay, his shit is all. Look, he's biracial also, right?
I don't know.
I think I heard that somewhere. Okay. I need to check that. But he got a whole lot going on.
Is definitely white.
You think so?
Right. See, but at some point you got to outgrow that shit, man. And understand.
Oh, he's biracial in PG County.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
see, and that DC thing is like, if you don't have like ghetto swag, it's gonna be rough. But okay, fine, that's child stuff. When you get to be 30, you're supposed to gain some damn perspective and be able to weed stuff out and separate stuff. Once people get to know you on a personal level, they see how you function, they overcome that. I still get people, talking like I had some damn silver spoon. I know that they just judging from maybe a vocal tone and they associate that with some other stuff, and people make those kind of judgments. But this guy's 30.
I mean, is PG that ghettofied?
Parts, yes, and also very few parts. Now, this is a smaller over time. Remember, it wasn't always that. When go back into the 80s, very few people lived there.
But he's just 30, so late 80s, early 90s.
Correct. He grew up in the Golden Spoon part. You absolutely right.
So, and the problem is, you can see the problem is that he didn't have a male role model.
Yeah.
It isn't a life.
No, what I'm saying is, I hit the nail on the head when it says he got picked on because, okay, I know how it is. You know how, Dollar Will, you didn't grow up at, if you grew up in a high school where there's a class difference.
Yes.
And,
I was sent from one area, one quadrant of DC Southeast to presumably a better high school, because So yes.
And by way, but what you dress, how you dress, how you walk, what you drive, all that kind of stuff. Kids notice that stuff, especially when they're upper middle class kids like in PG. And if you don't have it, guess what's going to happen? Even if you are ghettofied, what's going to happen to you? They're gonna pick on you.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Dollar Will, about that. Here's the thing. Coming up, I've seen black kids get picked on because they spoke properly.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just picking. It never went to bullying. See, it goes into bullying when you when you say certain shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, I got a cousin that actually lives up in that area. Like he doing a bid right now. He was living up in Manassas and shit up there near northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you right now, if you was around me and I was around Xanatos and he heard him say nigga trinkets,
mm-hmm.
he would be plotting on like stealing him.
Mm.
Like I would have to stop him. I'd have to pull him to the side because he'll mess around and steal on him. And drop him, and I'll be like, "Why you do that, man? Because I ain't like that nigga trinket comment."
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You couldn't have said that in my time in the street.
And the thing is, like, I didn't really grow up around the goons. I grew up in predominantly white neighborhood, and I can't even say shit like that because one, I know where I came from, and two, I know my place even in the city. The city I live in is called Plantation. It was literally a fucking plantation, and that's how it started. Like some of the homes, you could still see some of the plantation homes. So it's like you really have to look at where you came from, and this dude is not doing that. All he saw was he got to use SNES. And he didn't get all the fucking games like his friends did.
What I don't understand, if you were bullied and all this kind of, why are you coming to my channel with this bullshit? It wasn't us.
Oh, I can tell you
check
that.
This out.
I think he was drunk. To be honest,
I got family members like that.
Oh, really?
Check this out, Young Grizzly.
And they grew up privileged.
Yeah.
And what happens is when they grow up privileged, like he grew up privileged by proximity.
Yeah.
I just say like he would be that kind of guy if he came to visit our house, he would be scared to get out the car. He's a guy that when you pull up in the neighborhood, he locks the doors if you got to go in the store. Like that's why he could come over here because he's in Utah from PG. He ain't used to no real confrontation when it comes to people who look like him.
And BGS.
He sounds like the guy that really got bullied and the only people that caressed him and gave him any type of love were the white chicks.
Well, yeah, I mean that happens all the time. What I'm saying is, at age 30, why are you still holding on to it? Why are you coming over here giving us that shit?
You know,
Go
look, yeah, the class thing that BGS talks about, it really didn't even hit me until I was in Soweto, South Africa, and I'm driving, you know, taking the tour. Somebody telling us the ins and outs, and I'm seeing shit that a part of it looks exactly like what you see on TV, stereotypical stuff, the shack, the 10 shacks and whatever. And then I'm also seeing stuff that look just like fucking suburban, you know, places we live. And I'm like, and this is still Soweto. I'm like, but you got the poorest of the poor and what you would call hood rich living on the same damn block. And you're like, wait a minute. Okay, why does this guy got a house with a yard and fence and a Mercedes in the driveway, and that's a goddamn 10 shack down the street? I'm like, how come they don't show that damn contrast on TV? So I'm like, okay, I get it now. It's that population density thing. We don't get to stratify ourselves by class like white people do. They hurdle all the black folks up in one area, and so everybody's shit is everybody's problem. You know.
But Joe, Young Grizzly, you said the area you lived in is called Plantation.
Yep, City of Plantation.
So you know what? That's funny because all over the United States, there's towns and cities that are reminders. Like in the part of Virginia I was living in, which is the southern part of Virginia, which is like Danville, Martinsville. In order for me to get to Prince George County, guess what kind of town I got to go through? A town called Lynchburg.
Oh, yeah, Lynchburg.
Yeah, right.
We didn't even fuck around with your area down there, man. We knew that was
Homer Jack Daniels, huh?
Yeah, that shit's great. What'd you say, Dollar Will? That
we didn't fuck around down there. The only black folks in DC area to fuck around around in there is black folks from some other part of the country. We know that's Klan country down there.
Man, them niggas crazy.
Yeah, y'all know something for real though. Y'all know something for real though. This dude sound like the kind of cat. He hasn't quite gone to that extent. And as much as Cerulean jokes about it, that's the kind of cat that has a tempered down version of going around and killing people. He has a lot of hatred for black people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, real don't talk. Give him a gun.
He has a lot of hatred for black people.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, you know, he sounds like, and I said this before. I love like David Carey and so many things he says, but at the same time, you can't take everything he says as gospel. If you do, you're gonna sound like this fucking idiot.
Right.
Like you can't, man. Like you can't do that. Because if you do, it's gonna be very toxic to the way you live. And then you're really gonna act like, say, you're gonna start being like individualistic like Obsidian. Then you're gonna be hyper black elite like David Carroll. And then you just really want to go off and really like kind of embrace your dark side, or should I say white side, and be like, well, you know, I didn't have the swag and so on and so forth. I was bullied because I had like the second highest GPA on the football team.
And that's enough.
And still being fat. And again, yeah, exactly. That's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you get over that shit, and he just didn't.
Man, I was bullied for being light skinned. I was bullied for being in VA and having a northern accent. I was bullied for being in the north and having a accent that didn't sound like I was bullied for all kinds of shit.
And the thing is, I was that poor kid too, because that's why I got into computers. Because all my friends had like the 12X CD burner and shit.
Yeah.
Back when that was the real shit.
I
didn't have that.
But he don't understand. Like I'm telling you, he doesn't understand. Like we got in the fights where I was at in high school. We could with our teammates because we was in opposite gangs, and you get shot. You can get shot by your teammate after practice.
Oh,
like
boy,
one of our instances, my homeboy brought a 22 to practice because one of our teammates jumped him and he smashed down on him on a bench because he was talking shit. So like when you put together where he grew up and where he lives, really the black people he mad at were never involved.
I don't even think he was really mad at black people. It sounds like he's mad at not being accepted by the white people in his area. And then all he had
no,
were black
PG
people.
is full of black people.
Right,
No,
right.
no,
It's
no.
black folk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He wasn't accepted by the richer, by the more wealthy kids that had more resources.
He wasn't accepted by no one.
This is the ultimate problem.
Right.
He was never black enough to fit in, especially if he's biracial kids.
Correct.
He was never white enough to fit with the rich white kids.
Correct.
So
he ain't got his nigga wake up call yet.
Why do you think he got so mad when I said that? Why do you think he got so mad when I said you're not gonna be accepted in the black community and you're not gonna be accepted in the white community? Why do you think he got so mad when I said that?
Because reality struck.
He's real. Yeah.
And it's sad,
bro. Like I said, he's the kid that got mad because he got to use PS3 with 5 games and and 2 controllers. Like he's mad because he got it late. He got it used. But all my friends got it new with the game packs and shit.
But check this out. Here's the paradox. He's born in that, so his parents made, they integrated a biracial union. Born him. He was born into this conflict, fish out of water, and now he's repeating the cycle. With parading, the white woman banner. He don't even understand this. What got him in this situation? America is freaking segregated. If you're gonna walk, be chasing, getting with white women, don't be complaining about your problem of fitting into a segregated country.
Yeah, he's mixed. Somebody just posted a picture of him in Discord. He light skinned.
And he's light skinned. Well, I don't know whether he's mixed or not because he had light skinned people that aren't. But
I got money. Yeah, I got money that I bet you his mom was black and his father was white because he clings to that white side.
No, you know what? He said his dad got on a basketball scholarship, so it's not like the other way around.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite. Yeah,
I think I heard him say it
if there is a mix, right? But yeah, I think he's one of those kids that really he really had it bad in the sense that he didn't have it as good. And if you're talking to people like us, well, I can't even put myself in the same case as Angry Man or some of the other guys or even Charles Faulkner. But it's just like if you put him in this group, that's not gonna fly. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, let me stroke your hair. Let me give you a massage. Like nobody's gonna massage your fucking ego here.
Yeah, because
I definitely not, because I know where I came from.
Because his dad in DC, like I said, DC in the 70s, the late 70s, and the 80s was not the DC that you see today. It was not.
No, it was not.
No, it was not. Basically, you had crackheads and shit walking the lawn next to the White House. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They think Detroit, okay? Go look up some stats for murder stats in the 80s. And DC was the murder capital of the world. I saw a stat and I looked up just last week. I saw it and they said what they do per capita murders or whatever.
Yeah.
New York and LA was around 30 or something. DC was fucking 80. And remember, DC is hold on, remember, DC is only 10 square miles. So I'm going to come back to the population density thing. LA, y'all got a whole lot of land mass to spread that shit out. Yeah. Not in DC.
No.
But his father came from that era, the crack era. What was that? Was it Avenue E, whatever, behind that damn firehouse where people was buying all the hot stuff?
I don't know what Eastern Avenue. I don't know what Avenue is.
Well, I was real young back then. That was when the kid got shot playing with the toy gun. That's when they started changing the colors of the toy guns.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Oh, the typical.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they were telling Reagan that he had experience with drugs. He said, "Look outside the lawn. It's right next to you. Look over the fence."
Hey,
that's what DC was. DC was Chocolate City back then. It's not now.
Chocolate City.
Check this out. You know what I think? Check this out. Y'all know what I think?
Yes, sir.
I think he had a black father and a white mother. Let me tell you why. Because if he had a black mother after his father died, she could have still put him onto some game, and the white mother didn't think to put him on the game. And he had to go through and find out all this shit because his father died when he said he was 7. So he had a lot to find out without pre-warning because he was being, cradled. He was being protected. He was only 7 years old. So he has a lot of anger. He has a lot of anger.
Yo, you know what?
You get away with.
You know what? The wolf that he was.
Who was next? Who was next? Who's next? Somebody wanted to be in the queue.
I'm sorry. Can I want to jump the line.
Go ahead. All right. Permission granted. Jump the line.
Thank you. You know the wolf that he was left to was his mama. His mama was.
Yeah.
His mama was the wolf. I bet she was mad because of the situation she was in,
and she was left with a mixed
child. Probably
child.
Abused him.
And she was left with a mixed
probably
child.
Fucking abused.
Could be
him.
In the same area around black.
I have no doubt about it. She's the wolf.
Could be.
She's the wolf.
Go jump in, Valdez, and then what? Art, you want to jump in?
There's a whole lot of things that could play into that, because he could be, when he's talking about his family acting a certain way towards him, he could be talking about the white side of his family.
It sounds like the black side. It sounds like the black side.
Talking about the black side. But see, I'm gonna tell you something else. I think, you get away with more with white mamas, and he just strikes me as that kid that would go in the room and slam the door. Get out of my room, mom! He strikes me as that dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I think
you know what, Valdez. You know what, Valdez. To add even more credence to what you just said, my dude. It would be, and BG, because BG just drunk it home. He said he think it was the black side that mistreated him. If the black father was there, the black side would have been far less likely to mistreat him. So I think even more so it was a white mother.
And she needed help. She needed help from the black family, because if you're a white woman with a mixed child, you're not going to get any help from the white side.
That white mother could not introduce black culture to him. No. That was the problem.
Nope.
Right. And the thing is, one thing he did say was his dad was an exception to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So that means his black side of his family most likely was either they were angry at him in a sense, or showed animosity to him, or they was hood. Didn't like that, especially coming from where he lived.
Especially the black women that probably had to take care. Black community is a matriarchy. If your son married a white woman,
they didn't like him.
And they didn't like her, but they put up with her because of him. Once he died, guess what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
There's one aspect.
They could have been the wolves too.
Yeah, they are.
There's one aspect that's left out.
Go ahead. Then Art is going to jump in. Go ahead,
when you grow up like that, you can tell it. I could tell it when I was listening to him when I woke up. He's arrogant. You can't take your arrogance back to the hood and act like nobody gonna punch you in your mouth.
Hell no.
And he's oblivious to the fact that he's arrogant.
I wish I could punch him in his mouth. I told him. I said if I was
I was listening. I was listening because
I could rock with him.
You want to punch him in his mouth? I want to bend him over over my lap and with my belt. Go ahead, Art, jump in.
So is this the same guy that his wife died?
No, that's not Ulysses.
No, I think that's Ulysses.
Ulysses is cool.
But even Ulysses has like a foundation or a base.
Yeah.
After
because I'm kind of late into the argument because I just woke up.
You know Xanatos, right? Xanatos Clutch.
Xanatos. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Wait a minute. He got his though. Somebody hit him in his damn mouth and beat the shit out of that dude. And he didn't understand because he wasn't raised like that. He stepped out of his lane.
When
go ahead.
No, I think I fell asleep when Valdez was getting ready to beat his ass.
He was talking shit. I was trying to pull him off of him. Say, come on, dude.
Typical DC, y'all, just real quick, is Martin Lawrence. If you want to think about what's the personality of the average, person on the block he'd have to deal with, it's Martin Lawrence.
I wish we could have brought in Rom Wills into this.
That's right. Rom and I, we've had chatting back and forth. We come from the same area, same quadrant.
Yeah.
His area was worse than mine. It's but it's the same.
Because Rom would have got him straight.
Right.
Because Rom, by the way, Rom does live in Baltimore, Officer Charles.
Oh yeah. Because I knew to try to talk about PG, and I said, "Hold up, bro. I dated a girl for about 2-3 years who lived in PG. You're not gonna tell me how rough PG was. That's like comparing That's like comparing Iraq to Malibu.
Yeah, PG didn't get black until recently, okay? So before that, just to bring y'all up real quick, Marion Barry opened up those jobs that opening up the government, what BGS was talking about. Marion Barry came in and took white folks' property from them that fled DC after the King riots. That pissed off the white folks. He opened up jobs for black folks to get in the government so we could have this black middle class. And what did we do? We moved to a cracker area called Prince George's County and turned it black. That's what happened. Yep. It's the same people. That's why when you hear us talk about DC and PG back and forth, it's the same black people.
Yeah. I mean, PG was in a article lately because the governor's messing with him because of how high their grades was, and he's picking with them because he didn't think black people could do that well.
Exactly. So I'm saying you came from a upper middle class black school system. We can hear it in your voice. You're a product of your school system. But my community didn't do shit for me. Bullshit, motherfucker.
He doesn't want to go somewhere where it's completely black and hood, because then the reality is set in.
No, he's scared. Shit, they beat his ass.
He couldn't go there, to be honest.
And that's why I said that. I was just like, yo, his dad is a result. Yeah. Like, his dad was a result of hard work. I forgot what he said, but I went off and I had to stop. Yeah, because his dad was a result of hard work or getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because his dad wasn't giving shit.
No. That's why I asked him. I was saying, y'all dropped the ball. I said, where'd your dad come from? What do he have? What about your grandmother?
All of that. Every time I got ready to say something to him,
go ahead, Valdez, and then Officer Charles.
Like every time I got ready to say something, and he's like, "Oh, here we go with the yo and the this that." Yeah. I'm sitting there listening, like, dude, you talking about somebody bullying you or picking on you? You think I've never had preppy kids do that to me when a teacher was standing right there? That yo, I know the type of dude he is.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's the main reason why I wanted to punch him in his fucking mouth.
And he probably started the fights.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And got his ass handed to him because he didn't know that black kids in the hood deal with that shit on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I didn't even start fights like that when I was younger. You know how many fights I got into? You gotta man up at a young ass age.
Oh yeah. Oh hell. I told a story about the elementary school I went to. For sport, they drop a quarter on the ground and fight for it, just for sport.
Right,
they're bored.
You just make up shit.
They make up
violent.
I'm punching your head over a quarter because we're bored. You have 20 kids fighting over a quarter.
You know what they used to do in VA BGS?
What's that?
They would take something and sit it on their shoulder.
Oh yeah, knock it off.
Oh yeah, knock it off. Yeah.
That's your mama. Knock your mama off the shoulder.
Yep.
God damn. Hey, remember this old one? If you cross this line, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Oh yeah.
You know what I would always do, BGS, when they tell me that?
What's that?
One guy named Scotty Nibbler, he could fight his ass off too. He put it on there. He's like, knock this off my shoulder. I punch that nigga in his mouth every goddamn time.
Fuck the chip, huh?
There you go. Just get it started now.
Fuck the chip.
Yeah, dude, I feel kind of sorry for him, to tell you the truth. If I'm being real, I feel sorry for him because cats like that, they don't understand what it's like. That's a cat that ain't never really been in the streets. You know, having a street in front of your house ain't the same as, hey, this cat don't been in the streets. You don't understand what it's like. I grew up in a place where we had 4 or 5 different gangs in any area that you walk through. I would go home, walking from a friend's house, and walk through 3 different gang territories. I've been jumped by multiple people multiple different damn times, and I was never in a damn gang. And this cat's like this. He think this shit is glory when we talk like this. That wasn't glory. I didn't like that.
One of the women actually said he actually came on to talk to me. He wanted one-on-one time with me. He didn't know how to ask for it.
I think he's scared of his father though. Like I don't mean he can see his father in other black men. He know he can't compete with these people like his father.
And he said it because he wasn't as good as his dad in terms of physical prowess or being good at sports.
Yeah.
He did mention that.
He was 7 when his father died. He made a hero out of his father.
Yes,
his father,
yeah, but you know it when you see somebody who came from, like, he might not be from that area, but he can see his father in other men.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want to see it.
So his father was the athletic, educated lame then.
Probably.
He had a little swagger about him.
Yeah.
He could deal with black folks, but then he could deal with white people too. And he never had that. That's what.
He got a scholarship, and he escaped. Like he mentioned.
He escaped. Yeah.
His father pulled a white woman when it meant something to pull a white.
That's true. That is true. That's true because they're giving it away now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me take a shower so I'll give me a white woman at this gym. Let me see.
hey, do an update on that, LAR.
Huh?
Do an update on that, man, so I can post it because but that's for real, man. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that. The one you did, that's for real though.
Oh yeah, do an
update on that.
I don't even like working out like in the gym anymore because of that. Because I'm damn near about to punch people. Because these white guys and these Asian guys are starting to get a little too
defensive about their women.
Comfortable.
Oh
no, like where I'm at, like they try to get aggressive, but it's like a suburban aggression. So when you say, "Oh, you about that shit," and no sir, I just wanted to see if I was tough. Like I can't rock with that shit. That's what's turning a lot of these women off.
Oh, okay.
You the white woman whisperer?
No, man. Look, yesterday before I went to work, it was a thick Asian chick in the gym. Man, her white boyfriend packed up and left. Bitch, we got to go.
Yeah. Hey, Angry Man, I'm recording it, so I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
All right.
He said, "Bitch, we got to go."
Yeah. Do an update. Do an update on that one, man, because I laugh when you were talking about that shit. I've been telling black women about that for about a year. About
that's a recent one.
What video is that?
I posted it about
somebody interracial dating being competitive. I think that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to.
Your channel?
Download it.
That's uploaded on his.
Yeah, I re-uploaded it on mine.
Oh, okay. Let me look it up.
Yeah, do an update on that, man. That was hilarious.
Just give me some time, because it keeps going down.
I know it does, man. And Houston is a hotbed for that shit, man. I know sisters ain't happy about that shit, competing for their men.
You know what?
Real quick before y'all go ahead.
Go ahead.
They where I'm at right now, they're not necessarily happy, but one of the funny things about Houston is the few in shape women are strippers.
Oh, really?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. That's not even what
the same shit down here.
Yeah, but the problem is, a lot of these women realize that guys ain't gonna accept them because where I'm at is like in a bird. So they get it now. The guys like, look, I'm not messing with you in happy hour when that fluff you got. It's not happening.
Okay.
Right.
So now they are in the gym, but then they kind of see all the other fine women, and it's like, you know how you push people, that they getting pushed out because they don't really want to compete right now.
Yeah. They're in a mindset right now. They're mad right now. This is anger phase.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, y'all, what do y'all think as far as see black women? They're being distracted so goddamn easily. So these Kim Kardashian braids, which are just black women braids, all these other fucking braids have always been black women braids. It ain't never been Bo Derek braids or boxer braids. It's always been black women braids, right? And they are flipping out over Kim Kardashian.
No, the braids. It's not the braids. It got nothing to do with the braids. It's got something to do with Kim Kardashian being as old as she is, and she still got a flat stomach. And the braids are props.
And she got a black man that they want.
It's a prop.
I'm looking like, why do y'all not understand? Y'all are still getting mad over it. It's not resolving anything. Don't y'all understand? Y'all are the most physically dominant species.
You know why?
But on the planet,
they don't want to compete. They don't want to compete.
They don't want to compete. They don't want to fucking work.
No.
You know why they mad?
Go ahead. Why they mad?
Have you ever seen? You remember that Terminator 3 movie?
Yeah.
Yep.
You remember the female Terminator?
Yep.
You remember how Arnold Schwarzenegger said that he was an obsolete design?
Yep.
These chicks is mad. I'm gonna tell you why they mad. They're mad because they're emulating white women. What they're trying to do is they're trying to emulate certain aspects of white women, but keep certain aspects of black women. And Kim Kardashian is one of those women who they would want to look like, as far as her hair.
Well, greetings again, esteemed gentlemen.
Where'd you go, man?
I am thoroughly upset.
Why?
Because he came on there wasting fucking time, and that was such an excellent build. and what he got mad at was that because he's a fanboy of all the people whose arguments I was debunking as I was talking, and then because I don't want to hear that black shit, so I'm gonna cause an interruption so we can cut all this black shit off. Because plus I want to get some one-on-one time.
Basically coming on there saying white power, white power.
There you go. There it is.
And what pisses me off?
Really? You are a Bone Thugs and Harmony gangster, my fellow, because you are very smooth with your shit.
I do try. No, it's just that I've been on this roller coaster so many times, so long. One of now that we're off of Prince George's County, which I didn't even get into. Now, mind you, Negroes weren't allowed to even own land in Prince George's County until 1913 legally. They actually tried with some black veterans, right? Just after the Civil War, the black veterans came and helped build up Prince George's County. You know what happened after they built it up? The white folks said, "Oh, this looks nice and pretty. I think we want it."
Yeah.
And then you know what they did? They pushed them niggas out. And if you didn't go by request, they killed you.
Yeah.
It didn't get real black until the 90s.
Matter of fact, the first black person that was legally able to own a fucking piece of land in Prince George's County was Booker T. Washington's niece. Since we're talking about bootstrapping, do you know where their shit is at right now? Don't you know that a white person owns the property that they procured in 1913 in Prince George's County?
No surprise.
Do you know how they did it? The same strategy that I've been talking about. Do you know how many times Prince George's County has been rezoned?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Rezoning.
Absorbing the tax bases of little small cities within it and around it. Killing off the black schools.
Yep.
Supporting the white schools.
Yep.
And you sitting here complaining about Starbucks ran out of macadamia creamer. Oh,
I saw that shit in the comment section. I was like, "Oh, this guy."
Yeah, but that's real. I mean, he's serious about it too, because my daughter is the same way.
I don't understand. I heard him. People were like, "Yo, I understand him," and I was like, "No, I hear him, but I can't understand what the fuck he's saying."
My parents,
because you can't.
He said my parents wouldn't let me get a Sega Game Gear, and all my friends had one.
Yeah, exactly.
And they made fun of me because I was the only one that didn't have a Sega Game Gear, and it made me feel poor.
Yeah.
They gave me a Toyota in high school and not a Porsche like the other white kids.
Yeah.
There you go.
I told you that's what it was. That's what it was.
And then he just doesn't see the fact that he actually got a car.
I understand him very
after
well.
I got my mom's old Honda Accord, it took me a second to understand what she gave me, and I had to look at it, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
you got a car.
Got a car.
Yeah.
I didn't get my car until I was 19, and I got that myself at 19 years old.
I hear you. I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I'm 30 years old. We tried to get a Starbucks in my city.
I understand this guy. I'm gonna be honest. I understand the dude.
And we had to settle for a crappy Caribou coffee instead. This place is shit.
I got a car at 20.
Go ahead, LAR. Go ahead.
I got a younger cousin.
Hot chocolate.
I got a younger cousin who me and his older brother grew up together in New Orleans. His older brother became a millionaire. He lived his parents, my aunt, his mom, and my step uncle, whatever, they had him. When he became a millionaire, my older cousin moved him out to the suburbs. My younger cousin got entitled, and he felt like he worked for everything that he got. So we talking about a teenager walking around with his brother's Rolexes and chains and driving luxury cars, turning around and say, you know what, my brother don't work that hard. I understand it doesn't make sense, but I understand the mentality. And what winds up happening is now that younger cousin is in his 30s, and he tells people stuff like, you know, I blew $1 million while I was 21. It's like, it wasn't your $1 million to blow, dickhead.
Right. And it's nothing to brag about, even if it was.
Exactly.
It's nothing to brag about.
Exactly. That's why I understand his mentality, but that's part of the reason why his ass don't go in Utah now, because he can't take that shit to people. Just a practical environment. A place like PG.
Not that I don't understand. Like, I understand his roots, but I don't understand your reasoning when you look around you. That means you're not looking. You're turning a blind eye, or you're covering your fucking eyes to what's going on around you.
No,
and that's I can never understand.
No. He feels like he's been deprived. He feels like he's been poor. He feels like he's disadvantaged. It didn't happen.
I couldn't even take a hot shower because
that's why he went to Utah.
I couldn't
because guess what? You can't compare. If you go from PG to Utah, you can say you came up rough.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
because they don't know any better. They don't know any better in Utah.
I couldn't even take a hot shower properly because my two sisters were using the other two bathrooms, and there was only a 40-gallon water tank.
Oh, if you went from PG to Chicago, you couldn't talk that shit.
Was that water softener attached?
No.
Oh yeah. The water was too hard. It dried out my hair.
That's why he's in Utah. He's in Utah, so they can't see through him. Yeah. He's in Utah, so they can't see through him. You know what I would like to know?
Go ahead,
I would like to know where he lived. I would like to know where he lived between PG County and Utah. Because he's probably the kind of person that went somewhere else, found out that, oh, they can smell that shit on me. I gotta go to some place like Utah. Utah that's gonna attract anybody.
I can smell it on him because he's a spoiled brat that didn't get what everybody else got. He's mad at his parents.
Yep.
My mom neglected me because this, that, and the other. No, you didn't get the shit that you wanted.
There you go.
Yeah, they gave you everything that you needed.
I'm just guessing that you should have just told him to really piss him off, Valdez. Where the white women at?
No, you know what pissed me off the most?
You would have said in the next room
how he complained so much about what somebody didn't give him, and this is coming from a motherfucker that's running his mouth about bootstrapping.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
That's suburban bootstrap though.
And it pisses me off so much, considering the history of Prince George's County.
But so really, it's a difference between bootstraps and suburban bootstraps.
If he grew up in like DC proper, man, DC proper, I could understand. You look, Prince George's, come on, man.
Right.
How bad could it be? Dollar Will, how, even in a poor side of Prince George's County, how bad is it?
It's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as it's not what he's making it, because you can get on a bus and the subway and you real close to George Jefferson moving on up. So you see too much hope around you. So the bad areas are not that big. It's not that. It's a bad fucking block, a bad few blocks. It ain't like you can walk out that motherfucker to a better area. So it don't. You right. So what you saying is right. It don't compare, man. It don't compare.
In other words, when you go to school with the kids that live in a mansion, right?
Yeah.
In other words, and you have to go to school with non-name brand outfits and shoes and shit like that. And how black kids are.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially on the East Coast. Yeah. Especially on the East Coast. What brand are those shoes? You know, what are you wearing? Oh, those aren't 501s or whatever name brand jeans there. Look at you. You're not, you don't have no swag. Look at you. I wouldn't date you.
And that's the thing. Like, I look at what he's talking about, and I can't even call myself a bootstrapper or bootstrapping, and I'm glad LAR made that assessment or that separation of suburban bootstrapping and regular bootstrapping, because if anything, all I did was run with the torch that was given to me. Because how could you be like myself? I still live with moms, but I'm trying to do a couple things while I'm still there because I have the opportunity to have a low living expense. So it's like, all right, cool. I can blow $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on trying to get another business started up. You know, like, so I'm running with the torch that was given to me. But this dude, he got that torch and he was just like, oh no, fuck that. This is like, I did this all by myself. No, bitch. It's just like LAR said, you fucking blew $1 million that weren't yours. Kind of like that's like where you coming from.
You're talking about
and I can't rock with that. I can't rock with that. That's bullshit.
You're talking about talented 10. You know how many times I've been approached by motherfuckers from like the Prince Hall, Masons, the Knights of Malta, the Knights of Columbus. See, that's where the real streamline to revenue is.